Hi guys, welcome back to Chess the Matthew. So on this video, I will show you on how to win in just 10 moves with the opening of Benko. So the Benko opening start with the first move of G3. So here my opponent plays the move E5, in which the idea is to control the D4 with his E5 pawn. And here I can now put my bishop here on G2 to control the light square diagonal. But instead of playing bishop G2, I played here first the move C4, in which it fortifies the control of the light square with the pawn, and later on with the bishop on G2 that control the light square diagonal via H1 to A8. And here my opponent plays the move knight C6, tries to have some control on D4 square and also a defense on the E5 pawn of black. And here again I play the move D3 first before moving my bishop here on G2, in which the idea of D3 is still the same with the C4 that controls also the light square diagonal and also the center. And here my opponent start to attack with the move D5 to liberate the center, to have some controls over his pawns, and have some open diagonal for his light squared bishop, and with his dark square bishop also on this position. So here I play the move E4, trying to have some two attackers to his pawn with only one defender. So the black here was obliged to have some response, whether he will defend that pawn or capture. But the best move here is to capture some of my pawns, and he chose to play d takes e4 and win a pawn on this position. But here, instead of capturing his pawn, for example, after capture, then going to this position with and without a queen, but this position is rather unequal and a dull game because I have no attacking chances because my queen is not on the board. So I'd sidestep for that variation. Instead, play the move knight to c3 to put some pressure on his e4 pawn with two attackers and no defender. So he decided to capture my pawn on d3. So here, let's say for example after e takes d3 and I capture here with bishop takes d3. Although I am now a defensive pawn, but I have two developing piece in this position and I have an open diagonal for my bishop, and I can also soon develop my knight and castle. So here after e4, it looks like he surrendered his advantage on this position because we shall see that the black here is a pawn up. But instead of playing e4, the black here may play the move knight f6, and after for example bishop g5, bishop d4, trying to have some threat to double the c pawn on this position. So I play the move knight e2, he can play the move knight e2, and he can play bishop g4, pinning down the knight of white because after for example castle and bishop takes c3, the knight cannot capture the bishop on c3 because it was pinned by the bishop on g4. So I will lose my queen if I insist to capture his bishop with the knight. So obliged to play the move b takes c3. So we shall see in this position that the black here has slight advantage because of my crippled pawns that put some weakness on my position. So here after bishop takes d3, my opponent here just played the move e4 with an idea of opening some lines to the e file, and maybe he can hop his knight here to e5 or maybe to d4. But after e4, I simply just captured the pawn on e4, in which the position was equal and the material is also balanced. So here he tries to put some pressure on my e4 with the move bishop f5. The idea is that after he capture my knight with his bishop, then he can actually easily equalize the game. So here after bishop f5, I sidestep my queen to e2 just to defend my knight on e4 and sidestepping to this d file because it was open. So here instead for example my opponent played the move b takes e4, but here in this position he cannot play the move knight to d4 because there is a checkmate in one, and that is knight f6 check. So double check. So if there is double check, the only defense that you can do is to escape, and you cannot actually capture those checking pieces. So here the black cannot escape, so it is already now a checkmate. So here after for example queen e2, my move 8, the black here just simply capture the knight on e4 with b takes c4, and here instead of capturing this bishop with the queen, still I just play the move bishop takes e4 with an idea of opening some attack with the queen and bishop. A discovered attack later on if he cannot spotted that tactics. And again, as I assume, he played the blunder move and played the move knight to d4, intending to attack my queen with his knight. But here after knight to d4, it is a blunder move because I can deliver a double check here, and it is bishop c6 checkmate. So again, this is double check. So the only defense to the double check is to escape. But on this position, the black king cannot escape. So it is already now a checkmate. So just a recap. In just 10 moves, I win with the Benko opening after g3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I hope you enjoyed this video and please don't forget to subscribe.